Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to our program. You are watching Spirit of Cricket with Ratan. Sorry for the delay in the beginning because we had some technical issues, but hopefully you're all right with that. We'll be talking to some very special people today, and we'll be talking about, of course, cricket, of course, some memory, and we'll talk about some inspirational personals, some of the views about themselves and their past and going forward. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce one of my favorite, Tamim Iqbal. Tamim, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my show, Tamim.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Tamim,
much.
কেমন আছো তুমি এমনিতে?
স্যার আলহামদুলিল্লাহ স্যার ভালো আছি। আপনি তো জানেনই দেশের অবস্থা খুব একটা
That's
বেশি
right.
ভালো না। সো
Yeah.
সবাই বাসার মধ্যে যতটুকু পারতেছি মানে অ্যাভয়েড করতেছি বাইরে যাওয়া। আর
That's right.
এখন বাসায় আর কি টোটালি আর কি। সো ইনশাআল্লাহ দেখা যাক কি হয়।
All right. Okay, Tamim, this program will be wholly in English because we got some very good guests. Those you know them very well. I'm just going to introduce my another guest, John Barclay. John, former
Hello,
MCC
Ratan.
president. John, how are you?
I'm very well, and you know, Ratan, I'm very relieved to hear we're going to be doing the program in English.
Yeah, but you should know some Bengali as well because you've been to Bangladesh quite sometimes, all right? Quite sometimes.
Yes, yeah, many times. I've been very lucky, and Ratan, you were the person who really looked after me. First time I went to Bangladesh in 1994 with the England A team, and there you were at the airport, sorting out any problems. And every now and then, as you know, in Dhaka, there can be problems, and you sorted them all out. And not only that, you took me to the best tailor in town. And I had my suits made up.
We may talk about it, but if we have time, let me introduce my another guest today, another very special guest, Scyld Berry. Scyld, yes, we got back to you. Scyld, can you hear me?
Yes, fine, Ratan. How?
I'm fine, Scyld. Thank you for joining today. And as you know that Tamim is here, Scyld is, of course, a seasoned journalist, just retired after 40 odd years following England, still doing journalism. And of course, he was editor of the famous Wisden. So Tamim is here as well. All right. So you can say hello to Tamim.
Hello, sir. How are
I
you?
remember interviewing Tamim first when he was 17, just after he destroyed India in the World Cup 2007.
Oh my God! You exposed my secret because that one of the innings was my favorite, though it was not a century. But I have got a clip of that one. I'm going to display it for some time. But let's talk about the why I am doing this program. So this is what I have started by accident, and again this was inspired by one of my friend Barrister Nasheed. So he somehow he was encouraging, oh Ratan bhai, you need to do this, you need to do that. But I thought if I need to do something, that I need to do something which is beneficial for young people. So and also the fan need to know some background of our players, the coaches, and things are going from background. And I hope by doing that, players can share their view and young people can get benefit out of it. So I'll come back to Tamim in the beginning, so that again, I'm not a journalist, I'm just a cricket coach, administrator. All right, Scyld, you can jump in and ask question to Tamim. All right, you feel free anytime you want. All right, and hopefully.
Can I start now?
Yeah, you will be. But another things we'll be talking about today, of course. One thing would be the Lord's cricket ground where Tamim got his 100, and this is linked with John Barclay. Of course, he was president then. And then 2011, Wisden Cricketer of the Year, Test Player of the Year, where Scyld, you are very much linked with that. All right, and of course, I'll be talking about that 50 that Tamim scored against the mighty Indian during the Caribbean World Cup that time. And also, we'll be talking about what the players feel during the lockdown. All right, what is Tamim think? That is ever anybody thought that we'll be playing cricket without fans. All right. So without further ado, Tamim, just talk through your that memory of Lords. So I know that you spoke several times, many places.
Yes, Ratan sir. The first thing that comes to my mind is my father telling me about the Lords. And he used to say that Lords is the Makkah of cricket. And I remember in 2010 when we went to England, I had a wrist injury, so I wasn't sure whether I'm going to play the first test or not. So I went to see the specialist in London, and he suggested me to have an operation as soon as possible. So I was thinking, what should I do and what should I do? And then one of the board members told me that you probably won't be playing in Lords in the next 10 years, especially Test match. So I was just speaking, and then I've always told this in many of my interviews. The reason I play cricket is to chase is to fulfill my father's dream, and my father was the first one who told me about Lords and what Lords means to cricket. So then I thought that I cannot miss these opportunities. Somehow I have to manage, and I have to play that test match, and then we'll see what happens. So I still remember I used to be taking at least 3, 4 painkillers per day to make sure that my wrist is not hurting me too much. God was very kind, and I was very lucky that I somehow managed to score 100, and which will be remembered forever, especially from my family and the fans back at home.
Yeah, brilliant. So in this time, I know in this, I'm just going to pause everyone, and just I've got a short video. Just I'll play it, and we'll come back and reflect on that video from you and John as well.
Oh, what a shot that is! That is beautiful batting.
I'm sure every cricketer has a special part in their heart for Lords, and same goes to me. Lords was always like a storybook for me. When I was a kid, my father used to tell me about Lords, how it is, and it's called the home of cricket and everything. So when I eventually came here in 2000, right, it was like a dream came true. You know, when I was a kid, I was hearing a lot of things about Lords and how things are in Lords and everything. Then the honours board as well.
That's 4. God, that's power.
Oh, he's hit that. That is 6, I'm sure. And he's given that a real clonk.
The thing I remember was first innings I got out for 50 something. I got run out, and I came back to the dressing room and asked Pete, who looks after the board. I said, can you please make a 50 board, I'll pay for it. Because I badly wanted my name there, and he said, now he'll get 100. And eventually I got 100 in the second innings, and so that's the best thing I remember from that 2010 game.
Well, what a way to bring up your century at Lords. Smashing it over mid-on. He's off, he's running to the balcony. That's it, get on the board. Put his name on there. Run up there and do it yourself. Good boy.
Oh, it feels fantastic, you know. So, and it's only Bangladeshi as a batsman who has done it, so it feels better. I was very, very emotional because I badly wanted it, and I think when you achieved it, it feels the best, you know.
For more great videos at Lords, please subscribe.
So brilliant, Tamim. It was excellent, and I was privileged to be there, and of course, John, your reflection on that day.
Well, it was a marvellous day to be there. It was wonderful for Tamim, of course, but also wonderful for Bangladesh cricket. And the thing I remember is that you didn't hang about, Tamim. I mean, many people approach a century with trepidation and caution. Far from it, so far as I can remember in your case. And you will probably remember very clearly the strokes that you played that brought you from the 80s into the 90s and very quickly to 100.
Yeah, so Tamim,
Yes.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you, you know that you score 100, we'll talk about what was going through your mind in last 5 runs. Just can you just talk through?
Nothing much. I think from 70 to 100, I was like it happened very quickly. So I was lucky enough to get a lot of boundaries in those 30 runs. And then when I was on 96 or 97, when I actually hit a boundary, and I thought that I'm not patient enough to take 3 singles. I just need to go and get it as soon as possible. I think that was a kind of thing that was going into the mind. But by saying that in the first innings I got 50 odd, and the honors board means so much to me. I remember. I think he still works in that dressing room. Pete, if I'm not wrong, his name is Pete, who looks after the dressing room in Lords. So I actually went to him and said, "Can you make me a 50 board? I'll pay for it because I couldn't get 100. So if you can make me a 50 board, put it somewhere in the corner, put my name there." So that's how it means to me. And then when I came close to score 100, I didn't want it to waste any time. I just wanted to get it as soon as possible.
So what was it like that when you finish your innings and you are walking back through the long room and going to the, you know, it's quite a long walk, all right? So what was the atmosphere look like, the feel like while you're passing the long room at Lord's?
So it's a very different feeling. It's a very, very different feeling. It's a very special feeling, especially when you're going out to the bat, going to the bat. But by saying that, when you do well, it feels more special. But when you don't do well, it doesn't feel that good. Because I remember in 2019 World Cup where I didn't do well. I got out very early. But it was so nice of the members. Whether you score 100, whether you score a 0, they'll still clap. They'll still say good things, and then you walk through that corridor, go to the stairs, and go to the dressing room. It's a very, very special place.
Yeah, John, I'll come back to you, John. You know that Lords is always for those generation, perhaps the current generation also a Makkah of cricket. We call Makkah of cricket. You know, that is a home of cricket. And there are a lot of people like Tamim, and when I was very young, that everybody dreamed to come. Do you think that generation coming up now are they feeling the same way? I'll come back to Tamim later on, but John, you spend your life at Lords.
Well, Ratan, I don't spend my life at Lords.
Oh,
I'm lucky to be there every now and then. I think, certainly for now, I think that Lords is a very special place with a very exceptional atmosphere and spirit within the ground. As soon as you walk in, whether there's anybody there or if there's nobody there, there's a special spirit about it. And I think at the moment, overseas teams and everybody gets a very special feel about Lords Cricket Ground. Whether you're asking me, Ratan, whether that will always be the case, of course, I don't know. Life moves on and evolves. But certainly at the moment, I would suggest that as touring teams come to England, their match or matches at Lords are very special. They're special elsewhere too, but they're very special. It's a very special feel about it, the history and the heritage, I think, of Lords does mean a lot to everybody who visits.
Yeah. So Tamim, if I may come back to you again, the same question, Tamim, like that the way you dream about Lords, that do you think the young player now, are they going through some history of cricket, or I can see the young players, that they're just going training. I don't know either the coaches talked about the history of cricket, culture of cricket, spirit of cricket. I'm not sure. You can tell from the grassroots or the things that you see firsthand.
No, you're very right, sir. You're very right that we probably are fast tracking everything nowadays. But I strongly believe Lords will be Lords, no matter what. Whether it's now, 100 years from now, Lords will be Lords. It's a very special place, and I don't think whoever goes and plays in Lords will have a special feeling. I'm fortunate enough to have played, I think, 2, 3 international games at Lords. And if I go back there another 10 times, I'll have the same feeling. It's a very, very special feeling playing in Lords.
Of course. Sheil, you've been quite some times, all right? So that, of course, you've been to Lords more than any player probably because you've been there for internationally, all right? Whenever the England play, most of the time. Talk through your memories with Tamim playing at Lords and scoring those hundreds and fifties in the first days.
Well, I've been racking my brain, and I don't think I can recall any opening batsman who has so thrashed or trashed England's bowling as Tamim did at home and abroad. Virender Sehwag trashed England's bowling often enough in India, but in England, he only got 100 in quite a handful of tests. And in England, New Zealand, South Africa, he averaged 20 odd in test cricket. The most superlative player on Indian pitches, but not quite the same abroad. Whereas Tamim, I've seen trash England's opening bowlers in Mirpur and at Old Trafford, as well as Lords. And I can't think of anybody who scored so quickly as an opening batsman against England at home and abroad like Tamim has.
Yeah, that's brilliant because the 2010, of course, Tamim was brilliant in form, so that he scored 100 in Mirpur, so that he scored 100 against them in Lords and again Old Trafford. That was brilliant. So Tamim, if I go back to you, the following test, of course, the Old Trafford, you score 100. All right. Of course, you are always. I can remember that while you were in under 19, when you were not even in the national team. All right. So when England 19 was visiting Bangladesh, you were thrashing them everywhere. I could remember the manager John Abraham was telling me, Ratan, who is this guy? That he is just scoring runs together. He don't bother. So just talk through about your mentality against England, or it was for. Is there a special mentality for England?
No, sir. It's nothing like this. I think I think I've been lucky to score runs against one of the best teams in the world. 2010, especially in Mirpur, I think I batted quite well. I got few runs against them, and then when I came to England, especially after getting the 100 in Lords, I think the Old Trafford, we always heard that probably the fastest wicket used to be the fastest wicket in England. I don't know how true or false is it, but this is what we used to heard from different people. I think scoring 100 in Old Trafford was also very special because there was a lot of talk about, but because we all know England. England is one team that they'll somehow catch you where your weaknesses, where are your strong points. So after getting that 100 in Lords, and I think the way I got out, I think they had a setup of 4 fielders in the leg side and all in the boundary, and they started bouncing me, and I think I pulled and got out there. So it was more challenging for me to score runs in Old Trafford because I knew what they will come up with, and they came up with very early when I think I was batting on 20 or 30s. They had a similar plan. They bowled me a lot of bouncers, but I thought I batted very sensibly, batted very well, and somehow managed to score that 100. So that's why Old Trafford is also very, very important. But any player, if he's scoring against England, it's a special thing because England is such a big team.
When the England players winding you up at Lords saying, wait till we get up to Old Trafford, it'll be a quicker wicket there.
Yeah, there were a few words in Lords and back in Chittagong when we were playing the first test. So that's the thing. That's why I mentioned Old Trafford. because ball does a bit there. So after hearing all those things, and then you somehow manage to score some runs there, it gives you a special feeling.
It must be possible with all the data analysis nowadays to discover whether you have played English bowling, pace bowling, from further down the pitch than anybody else has ever done. Because my memory of that 2010 series is you running down the pitch, to quick bowlers like Tim Bresnan, and getting so far down the pitch by the time they pitched, then they disappeared back over their heads. It'd be wonderful to have data analysis of how far down the pitch you have taken the ball.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the thing that worked for me was I was actually not thinking too much about them, because the quality of Graham Swan and the quality of James Anderson. If you start to think too much about them, what Anderson will do in swing, out swing, and then it makes a lot of difference in your head. And then Graham Swan was probably the best off spinner, one of the best off spinner in cricket ever, I think. If you think about all those things, how good he is against lefties, then a lot of negative things comes to your mind. I think one thing went in my favor. I was really young, and then I didn't think about all those things. I just went there, enjoyed my thing, and then all those things happened. But if you think too much, if you go through a lot of videos, lot of things, sometimes it can backfire you.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'll come back to John in this time now. John, as I said, that you've been to Bangladesh with MCC, all right, and you saw, probably you may remember your first trip to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh came a long way in terms of as a country, of course, as a nation, as a cricketing nation, and now you can see the players like Tamim, dominating. Just briefly, your memories from Bangladesh in the 70s and then mid 90s and now.
Yeah, well, it's a remarkable progress, really, and it's a fantastic story. Not totally surprising. The skills that you see there are so immense, and the natural spirit of cricket within the streets and within the roads, if you like, of Dhaka and elsewhere. But I do remember I went with an MCC side in, I think it was 1977, played 4 3-day matches, I think they were, including one in Dhaka at the stadium in front of some 35,000 people on each occasion, would you believe? And the reason I think there were 35,000 people there is that they thought, you might think quite rightly, that MCC was actually England. And I think they thought they were watching an international. I'm not sure how long they thought that once they started watching me play. But I think that the general belief, and there was an enormous crowd on each day at the stadium in Dhaka for our main big match, and which I enjoyed hugely along with everybody else, and the whole trip was fantastic. So that was 1977, early days. The next time I visited, I think it was the next time anyway, was with the England A team in 1994, and that was just prior to Bangladesh being absorbed into as full ICC membership, and we played again in Dhaka. I didn't play this time. I watched, and clearly the whole scale of cricket in Bangladesh by '94 had moved onto a different scale, into a different sphere, and it was a matter of time really before Bangladesh became a major force. But it must be remembered too that when Tamim scored those 200s in 2010, first at Lord's and then at Old Trafford, and also remember he made 55 in the first innings at Lord's as well. Inevitably, at that early-ish stage, Bangladesh as a nation were always up against it. They were always up against sides that were perceived and probably were all round stronger. So it was performances made when up against it. And that is hugely impressive. And Scyld has just made the point that the attacking nature of Tamim's game was absolutely, is absolutely outstanding and exhilarating. I mean, the number of balls he faced for those 200, I don't know what they were, but it was thrilling and exciting. But, you know, and that's amidst a losing side at that stage, which makes it even more impressive.
Yeah. In this point, I will just go back to the young age of Tamim. All right. So this is that I said that we had World Cup in Caribbean, so that there Tamim scored a 50. But that is, for me, that was one of my favorite for various reasons. So that I'll just play that one, and then we'll come back.
Tamim Iqbal, very, very young in years, 17. So a lot is going to be expected from him. That's beautifully struck. That really is a good omen for Bangladesh. A half volley, but there was width, and most batsmen like to make use of it.
There's no second thoughts here. It's width. And that's hammered. Beautiful shot.
Oh, in the air, but still very, very useful runs. Slashed on that, but if you do hit it firmly in that direction, with the field standing inside the ring, there's always runs to be made.
This is an attitude of how to win a game of cricket. This is a bad ball there, you hit it. Good shot.
That's a great shot. An excellent reply. On the back foot, punches it through the offside square of the wicket.
Well, he might have ruffled his helmet earlier on. This is a lovely shot. Beautiful shot. Balance.
Oh, that's down the ground. Charged on it. And what guts. He's not going to get intimidated by the short one. By any way. The bowler's bowling short, getting hit. He's took his chances and it's paid off.
Great shot. It was in the air for a while. Zahir Khan threw his arms in the air. A shout of catch it. 50 up for Bangladesh. The only catching will be when Dravid throws the ball back.
Yeah, 50 on the board. 50 for one in the 11th over. Bangladesh need it.
Going round the wicket to Iqbal. Long hop, really. Consecutive boundaries.
Poor delivery, but great shot. Iqbal in a flash. Tamim Zahir Khan around the wicket. Tamim Iqbal dances down the pitch.
And have what more? And they showed some good reasons why today. Runs are hemorrhaging.
Well, this is terrific stuff. It's not great if you're an Indian player or a spectator. These Bangladeshi boys are having fun. 7 fours, 2 sixes in 65 for one.
7 for one.
Well played, terrific effort. 51 from 51, 7 fours, 2 sixes. Dancing in the stands, there is some good support here for Bangladesh.
So brilliant. In fact, I was in Malaysia, and I was watching in the late night. Oh, what a brilliant innings! And Scyld, you said that you interviewed Tamim after that.
Yeah, I remember that, having a chat. I think you admitted to being more of an offside player in those days.
All right. Okay. So,
well, as the footage would show, how did you change your game over the years, evolve it to practice more leg side?
So
sorry, Tamim.
I think.
Yeah,
I think a
how
lot
did
of
you
credit
evolve your game to
goes
become more like
Jamie Siddons? Yeah, I got it. I think a lot of credit should goes to Jamie Sirens, my coach at that time. I think he was the one who actually worked a lot of hours with me, especially in with the bowling machine, and then used to throw me millions of balls. We just used to do leg side shot, nothing else. I still remember I used to get bruised everywhere in my chest, to thigh, in my legs, everywhere, because he used to continuous throws millions of balls. He used to feed me with balls in the bowling machine. I used to just bat on playing leg side shots. I think cricket is such a game. If you spend enough time working on something, you somehow will improve. I think a lot of credit goes to him. He worked exceptionally hard with me, and I can proudly say that leg side is my one of strongest point at the moment.
Sure.
Tamim, of course, you know that we all see the way you start playing, and you know that now you're taking more responsibility. You are more attacking now. You are taking more anchor roles. How you feel? Of course, you're taking responsibility. You're the captain of the ODI side now. So the transformation from Tamim in 17, 18, 20, 21, and Tamim in now. How do you differentiate yourself?
I think, sir, I think the main thing is at that time we used to go enjoy, and if you see the result that time, you will see probably in 20 games we used to win 1 or 2 games. But if you see us from especially from 2015 to 2020, the numbers have changed. The numbers have changed. We have started winning uh, a lot of games, especially against big teams. So we needed to do something different. We all knew we have players who can play a lot of strokes. That's exciting to watch, but we needed someone to at least try and bat long, so that at least then the others can play around you, and then we make up a decent total and give our bowlers a chance to bowl them out. I think if you see before 2015 or 2007-8, we were very rarely we were scoring 250, 250 plus. But from 2015 till now, if you'll see a lot of changes. So I think you have to make, if you want to get better, you have to make some changes. I think it's not about only me. I think whoever, our message is very simple and very clear. Our top four, one has to bat till 40th over, because we're not like England, or we are not like India. England probably have a different game plan. If you watch, you probably will have a feeling that from ball 1 to ball 50th over, they'll keep on going, keep on keep on hitting. But Bangladesh, I don't think can play like that. We have to have our own plans, and when we are ticking all the boxes, and if you're following the plans, I think those are the days we're getting a lot of success as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I think is John. You wanted to say anything?
I was just going to ask, Tamim, watching you bat, there's a very natural freshness about the way you play. It looks very natural. It looks very free in the most wonderful sort of way. I just wondered, because people listening will be interested, to what extent, and you mentioned your father and the bowling machine and leg side play, to what extent coaching and encouragement, technical coaching, balanced with your natural freedom, what sort of part the technical coaching, if any, has really played in the development of your game?
I think, yeah, it's very important. Coaching is very important. Technical part is also very important. But one need to understand, especially the young players, whoever is watching this show, you need to understand that a coach will come and give you 10 advices. A coach will come and tell you that there are the 10 options, but you have to pick 1, 2, 3 points from there. That 10th option might not work for you, might work for somebody else. But the problem, especially in our part, is our young players wants to please the coach, and then they try to listen whatever they tell us. You have to understand sometimes that not everything is right for everyone. Something will be right for me, something will be right for somebody else. So you have to take that responsibility to understand, yes, this is the right stance for me, or this is the right way I should think, or this is what I should change in my batting. You have to take that responsibility. The coaches are there to help. They will give you 10 things to work on, but end of the day, you have to also decide that which is working for you and which isn't.
Yeah.
Could I ask something, please, at this stage? It's fascinating how batsmen begin, and I believe that you had this driveway outside your house near the Aziz Stadium. I've been to Sehwag's house in Delhi, and a similar driveway, very smooth concrete, so he could just hit the ball on the up from his earliest years. What sort of driveway was it in your case? And was there something that encouraged you to hit offside and maybe stopped you hitting leg side at that early age?
I think the rooftop cricket. We used to play a lot of rooftop cricket. I think that was the main reason me being a much offside player, because I still remember my roof had a space where we used to have bigger side on my offside, lesser on my leg side. So I always used to try and hit the ball in offside when I was a kid. I think that maybe that played a part, that I became an offside player. And then any kid if you go to, they always like to have a hit somehow swing in offside. Nobody likes to get hit in the body or ball coming in leg side. So but things are changing now. You see a lot of leg side player nowadays. But this is my story, I think.
Could you just tell us a bit more about rooftop cricket? I mean, do you have netting around the roof, or to stop the ball disappearing, or do you have to hit it on the ground?
No, you have to play on the ground, and you have a boundary of probably 6 feet. If you hit the ball straight to the boundary, on the ground it's 4, in the air, and if it touches the boundary, that's a 6. But if it goes over and if the ball falls in somebody else's roof, you're out. So you probably have to hit a lot of ground shots, and there are a lot of tricks. I think it's a very important part of Bangladesh cricket. I think you still, if you come to Bangladesh, you'll see a lot of players playing in rooftop. I still remember the biggest challenge. I think the ashes of our Bangladeshi cricket was our rooftop, our house versus our neighbor's rooftop. So we used to go there, play against them. That challenge was something else. I think it's more like ashes. What you guys play. So I think nowadays the facilities is different. Nowadays you will see a lot of netting around, especially now in my house when my young cousins are playing. They have all the facilities, all the netting, so don't need to worry while the ball is going. But back in those days, you probably have to have 6-7 balls, because every second ball it was going outside.
I think for both of you, I think there's one thing if you can take out from this program today: the rooftop cricket. Rather than we talked about backyard cricket, we talked about gully cricket. All right, I think rooftop cricket, yes, it's something that we never talked much. I think this is fascinating. That, and Tamim touched on a number of things regarding the coaching. You know that the how coach communicate. You know, the coach can give you input, and it's as a player, it's your ownership. It is your game. The way you want it to play, that is you. So we can talk a lot about in this section. I just wanted to touch on, before I go to the wisdom. I just wanted to stay with MCC and Lords and spirit of cricket. I think spirit of cricket is never been so important. What is now for various reasons for the last couple of years, and also I think there are only very less people, less even coaches and management talked about it. People don't have that probably understanding about respect, about the respecting umpire, respecting opposition, respecting spectators, following their rules and that. So Tamim, if I can ask you about the young generation, about the spirit of cricket, do you think that that this spirit of cricket message is going out there in the academies where 10, 12, 13 years old boys are coming day in, day out?
I think, sir, we can definitely improve in this part, especially. Nowadays, we talk about a lot of aggressiveness, positive body language, and all and all. And I still believe you can have all those things, but you can also respect the opponent as well, having all those things with that. But I think cricket education is very important, sir. I think this is one thing that people need to start concentrating more. because you can give them all the coaching, but this is also part of cricket, to understand, to respect the opponents, respect the umpires. So I think this is one part I think we can definitely improve on, and I think nobody better than you. I think you have been doing some amazing job in England, what I've been seeing. So it's time for you to come back to Bangladesh and teach the young players how to deal with things.
So I wish I can come, and I hope I will one time. So, John, if I may ask you the same thing, that it is so vital, so important, because I can see in this pandemic, that there are, of course, likewise many sports, but cricketers came out and do so much things, and that probably I'm not sure that Tamim has done so much to support the people who require the support. And Tamim, congratulations! So you become the ambassador for World Food Program, probably.
Yes.
All right. So that, and it was a recognition of what Tamim been doing, probably, that personally to the people who really need support. And not only Tamim, there are many players are coming out and helping. And for me, it's for the as a cricketer, I can feel that the spirit of cricket taught us to do certain things, to share things, help each other. John?
Yes, Ratan, I missed a little bits of that, but I think there's no doubt that one of the potential positive side effects of this very distressing pandemic and lockdown is that it has the opportunity to get people together, become more supportive, understanding of other problems, and allow people, cricketers in our case, to be less self-centered for a while. There's nothing, we all understand that, and more outward going and helpful. So that may well be a very positive outcome, which in a way, Ratan, perhaps one can incorporate within this funny word of spirit, which is a very hard word, I think, to define. But that might have a very positive impact as we move into the post-lockdown phase and get back to action, which we will for sure before too long.
Because as you mentioned that lockdown, so that I'll come back to the lockdown now. Of course, as you know that the West Indies is coming, and they'll be playing test match at two venues under the closed door. As a player, Tamim, if probably you never imagined that you'll be playing cricket in closed door, and you have to probably do it now.
Yes, sir, you're right, but it will be very difficult if that happens in Bangladesh, because the amount of support we get is incredible. And playing in an empty stadium, I don't know how I am going to react. It will be very different, but all the rules are coming in, new rules and all of those things. I think people will take time to get used to all those things. I think if the situation is like that, we don't have any other option. We probably have to do it this way. But I hope we come back to the normal life as soon as possible. We need the people in the stands. We need the support of the supporters. It won't be fun playing in an empty stadium. That's what I can say.
Of course, Scyld, what do you take for journalism point of view? Of course, it's no different than the players, isn't it?
Well, we've been told that there'll be one correspondent allowed for each newspaper, and that correspondent will go to the Aegeus Bowl for the first day of the first test between England and West Indies, park in the car park, go straight in the entrance of the hotel, up into the press box, stay there all day, not moving around at all in the ground, and then there'll be a Zoom press conference after the day's play, go back to the car, go home. So there'll be no contact between the media and the players, and not being able to get outside the press box at all. So yeah, very severe limitations compared with what it was, but better than nothing.
Better than nothing. I hope, and we hope that cricket will be back, and that everybody, not for only player, the fans. Fans are so important. Because of fans, Tamim and a player like Tamim and Sakib and Mushfiq and Mahmudullah, they are all out there, and they are Tamim because of the fan. I think this is very important, and we hope that fans will be back soon. In this point, I will be coming back to Wisden and Tamim, of course, after your brilliant performances in 2011, you become Wisden Test Cricketer of the Year, and
it was a simple decision.
It was a simple. I was trying to coming back. What was the process? I know that it was a simple decision. Probably, what was the process you go through? Can you tell me, Scyld, before I come back to Tamim?
Yeah, I had two thoughts in mind. One was his 100 at Lords, and the second was his 100 at Old Trafford. I mean, what more do you need to be Cricketer of the Year than to display your talents on the stage against an attack which then was a #1 in the world? It was a no-brainer, as they say.
Yeah, I understand. Tamim, when did you hear that news that you become you're named in Wisden?
I think one of the journalists came and quietly told me, very silently told me that this is what is going to happen, and I actually didn't understand the weight of it at that time. But when I got it, when I understood about the history and about the wisdom, it was massive. I think it was massive for me, but more importantly, it was massive for Bangladesh. I think everybody in Bangladesh enjoyed it. Everybody was part of me that I was named as 5 cricketers in Wisden. I think it was very big moment for me and for Bangladesh cricket. And I think this is one thing that I will definitely tell my son, that I was named one of the 5 cricketers in Wisden.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just going to show the book presentation, because I was honored to pass that book to myself, to pass on to Scyld, and I'll just go and play that one. Just hold on a second. It was so pleasure to hand it over that book to Tamim. And if you, Scyld, if you can just talk through about that book, that's a special one, custom made, and it's gold plated some places. All right.
Yes, leather bound. It'll be worth quite a few bob on eBay if you do want to auction it, Tamim.
No. That's for my son.
Good. Yeah, it's a great honour. I mean, it's the sort of the biggest privilege the editor of Wisden has, because he doesn't have to do anything but consult around. There's no sort of panel. It's just the editor's individual choice. But it was a very easy one in this case.
All right, so that you don't have to get scrutiny why he's not, why that is not. Of course, yeah, we are very proud of Tamim that he was selected because of his brilliant performances. I will just now talk with Tamim about the inspiration you get. Of course, you talked about your parents, you talked about your father. Of course, you are a sports family. Your uncle, your brother played highest level in Bangladesh, and in a sense, you are so lucky because you got those role models. You've grown up seeing them. What is your biggest inspiration to where you are now?
I think for me, the biggest inspiration was my father, hands down. When I was a kid, and my father was an handicap. He lost his leg because of diabetes and one incident. But I think I still remember, sir, that he used to have the fake leg and used to walk. I still remember that he used to stand in 40 degrees sun, hot, and then he used to umpire the game and make sure that I bat. So he used to do all those kind of things for me. And I think you don't need to say anybody else. Yes, my brother played for the team. Yes, my uncle played for the team. But for me, the biggest inspiration was my father. I think the things he has done for me was unreal, and I will never forget.
Of course. If Tamim, you go back, you're 15 years now. Tamim, let's see, Tamim is 15. What you would have done differently than what you have done before? Would you do anything differently?
Yes, I will. I will say. I think the fitness part. I think there was a time, especially before 2015. Maybe I was someone like that. Had a similar kind of a mindset where I used to think that if I'm scoring runs, if I'm batting well, I really don't need to think about all of those things. But I think I understand now, especially after 2015, when I started taking fitness very seriously, and I saw the result, and I saw how good you feel when you're on the field. I think this is one part. If I could have started very early in my career, then it could have been much better for me. I think the fitness part I would like to change.
All right, definitely. I think this is something that I think this is the core of any sports, the fitness. If your fitness is good, your skill improve very quickly as well. Tamim, can you remember your the day you got called for play for Bangladesh team and how you got that call and what was your reflections when you hear that?
Yeah, but I'll tell you, it's a very, very funny story. Actually, I was in a camp. We were playing Dhaka Premier League, and I was playing for Old DHS club. So I was staying in their apartment. And journalists in Bangladesh are they have access to everything. So one journalist wake me up, and I think it was afternoon something. He waked me up and he said, "Get up, we need to have your interview." I said, "Why?" So you've just been selected for the national team, or maybe the team was announcing that evening, but he already got the news. So he made sure I wake up and gave him an interview before anybody else. So that's how I first knew about I'm getting into the national team. But it was very nice.
All right. Okay. So if you wanted to give young players advice or something to take on from your today's program, what you would be telling those young players?
I think everybody has their natural thing. They should not lose that thing, no matter what. You should do the basic. You should do everything what your coach says. I understand that, but everybody has one shot or one delivery that comes very naturally. That can be a pull shot, that can be a sweep shot, that can be a drive. But try and never lose that. I think that is very, very important. Yes, you can have a high elbow, you can do all those kind of things what your coach says, but you should also try and understand what comes naturally to you. You should always keep that, because I think when you become a professional cricketer, that shot will be your go-to shot every time.
Do you have any trigger moment that might change you to think differently? Because yeah, go on.
Sir, I'm someone that who stays still on the wicket. This is one discussion I was actually having with Virat Kohli in one of my live chat. A lot of coaches have suggested me to try and see back and across things, and I actually never felt comfortable. And I picked Virat Kohli to ask this question. The reason was he started his international career standing still, and then now he does the back and across thing. So I think what he told me, and then what I used to think, it's very similar. I think it's a personal thing. There's no harm in doing back and across, and there's no harm staying still. what difference? But as he told me as well, and I agree to him completely, there is you can always try, and you can always try and see if that makes you a better player, if that makes you a better batsman. So probably in the next few net session, I'll give it a try and then see. And then very important thing, do not do this only in practice. You have to do it once or twice in the game to feel the confidence. Because if you're doing it, and if you do it in the game, and if you somehow score in those games, you'll get that confidence to do it in the future. So not only in practice, try and do it in the game as well, whatever you are trying to teach.
I think there is a misconception with the players and sometimes the coaches. I need to admit that sometimes as you're talking about the trigger movement, your stance, that there are some basic principles. And trigger movement also it comes as a natural. It need to be natural, and you need to go with the natural way of doing it. I think the way you are doing, I think absolutely right. It's not necessary that you have to do the trigger movement or anything, but my another question I would like to ask you, Tamim. You mentioned in several times. I think last time I saw it in a Bengali newspaper. You talked about myself that you talked about. I think about a few days back or so that something about. I said something. I cannot remember. Can you repeat that?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So this was when BCB started the academy thing. Okay, so when I think we were close to 40, 50 players in the camp, and we used to train all together with all the good facilities and everything. And I think the first tour that our academy team had was they were going to Pakistan. And I actually had a decent domestic tournament and then decent practice games. So I was left out. That was the only time I got left out from any team. I still don't have an answer to that, why I got left out. But actually, I think I honestly believe that changed my life. Not dropping me from that squad and not taking me to Pakistan was a life changer for me. I think the team went, and it was very frustrating. I remember I used to come to the training with all those players, and we don't used to get to bat or ball because the priority was the main team, 15 going to Pakistan. So the team went, and I think we were left 4 or 5 players, and then we had 6, 7 coaches, and you were the main, probably the head coach of that coaching group. I still remember, sir, we were walking through. We were walking from the indoors, Mirpur indoors, to the main ground. I think we were, and you told me that Tamim, the talent you have and the capability you have. If I were in your shoes, I could have challenged the world that I will be in the national team in next 6 months. This is you telling me when I just got dropped from an academy team. Thinking about national team was unreal. But honestly, sir, that message I still remember till now. And but luckily, very, very luckily, I actually got into the national team within that 6 months. So I thank you from bottom of my heart. I think that month and a half that we trained under you wasn't fun, sir. There was no motive, there was no tour, but we learned a lot of things. I still remember you used to give me a long batting hours in the nets. We used to work hard on our fitness. So I definitely owe you one, sir.
No, thank you very much. Thank you. We are just about to finish in a couple of minutes. Scyld, you wanted to ask any question to Tamim on this point or anything?
Well, I'd like to ask, I mean, you're in a fantastic position. You've got 14 years experience of international cricket and you're only 31. Don't you think some of your best days are ahead of you?
Definitely, I think so, because this is the time where I'm actually understanding my game the most, and I think especially as a team, as also a team, if you say our 5 senior players, myself, Mahmudullah, Shakib, Mushfiq, you probably won't have this kind of experience in any other team in the world now. Everybody has played almost more than 10 years of international cricket. So I think this is the time where we actually give back something to the nation, give back something to Bangladesh. And 2023 World Cup is something that we really want to do well as cricketers. And individually, yes, I have all the experience. I know how to handle the criticism and the good part as well. So I have a better understanding now than 10 years back. So I hope I can take this experience in a good way, and I can make some good changes, rather than just, you can have all the experience, but you cannot, if you can't make the right decision, then there is no value of those experience.
Yeah, brilliant. John, you wanted to say anything, add on to question or anything you wanted to say, John?
Well, it's been wonderful to listen to Tamim and Scyld and you, Ratan. It's been a joy. Just to say, the one really key thing that would come through to me and to a young player, that through everything you said, would be the taking on personal responsibility for your own game, for your own lives. So young people taking on responsibility for their game, not relying upon everyone else or making excuses, taking on responsibility and showing a respect for the game and for the people around them. But I think it's personal responsibility that comes through, and you are achieving that, and certainly through your leadership, which will doubtless be following now a lot, that will make a big difference. So it's been great to be part of this.
Sir, I can't hear him. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, Tamim, can you hear me?
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear. We lost Tamim probably. We cannot hear Tamim anyway. So anyway, I think we lost Tamim. Oh no, he's back. He's back. Just hang on a second. He's back. All right, Tamim, can you hear us now?
I couldn't. Yeah, I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear the question what John has to ask.
No, John was just John. Can you repeat? Tamim can hear. John, can you repeat the things that you were talking about?
Do you want me to say all that again?
Sorry, yes, please. Tamim was not listening. It's a technical problem.
Well, Ratan, I'm not sure whether they were pearls of wisdom, but I just said for me it was the personal responsibility that Tamim was referring to of players, young players and senior players. That's the key thing. Players, young people need to take on their responsibility for their game, not make excuses, take it on themselves. And I think that makes a huge difference. And that's really come through a lot of what Tamim has said. And it's been really interesting to hear that, and refreshing and positive. So well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Tamim, thank you very much for your time. Just say a few things to the viewers and to the young players.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was nice talking to you, sir. It was always nice talking to you. And I think the viewers, what I can tell you is this: pray for Bangladesh if you are a Bangladeshi, because the situation is not great at the moment, but I'm sure we will be back on our feet very soon. And I think for young cricketers, I think is to understand that your game is the key. What you really want to be, and what what you want to be, and what's your plan. And there's one thing is very easy and very for sure is if you work hard on something, you're definitely going to achieve it. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but you will definitely achieve it. So keep on working hard. There's no easy shortcuts. If you want to achieve something, if you want to be the best in the world, you probably have to work really, really hard. Listen to your coaches, but as I told you, the coaches are there to give you 10 advice, but you need to understand which one to take and which one not to take. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tamim. Thank you, everyone. I think that's the last message that's very important. You need to really work hard to achieve something that you really wanted to achieve. Thank you very much for my guests, Scyld, John Buckley, and Tamim Iqbal. And we will be back soon again with another topic, with another guest. To stay tuned with us, and please like and share our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and we'll come back soon with another guest. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum.